spineless coward.
We're live.
Hello. Welcome all. It is Monday night. Generational change.
We're back in Florida.
We're back in. Well, clearly.
Yes.
I'm Jen.
I'm Peter, but that could be a fake back.
I have to tell you, when I did that interview the other day, they asked me also, is that virtual? I'm like, no, it's real. People really like it though.
Yeah, no, I think it's.
We're gonna get.
I'm not just saying it because I have.
No, it is really cool. But we are gonna get some. I think a little bit of backlighting might be kind of nice behind it.
Yes. Hi Arlene. Hi Mac. Hi Lana.
We have a lot to talk about.
We definitely do.
We have a lot to talk about from our jaunt to Cleveland, people.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I guess listen. We're going to wait till Jordan arrives to address AOC. I think what's most important is we talk about what the past 3+ days have been like. Obviously, we just got back this afternoon.
We're not reporters, but we can report back.
Yes, we just got back this afternoon from
this morning.
Cleveland this morning. Yes, it was I would like to think it was a pretty productive trip. Now,
I think it was good.
We were really caught up in canvassing and doing the work on the ground.
We didn't get to see Her Royal Highness.
We've got crappy connection. We just can't have one damn podcast without something.
I just don't want to hear it. We don't have that kind of technology. We get what we get.
We're trying.
So, I think that for me, just feeling like in some way that I contributed on the ground to the ground game, just feeling like I contributed in some way just feels good to me. I know that's kind of a selfish thought, but it just feels good.
No, but you know what? We really did canvass. We weren't just there for like a token canvass in the afternoon.
Oh.
Like we broke our backs for almost 3 days.
I have shin splints and fat knee.
I've got blisters. So
I've got blisters.
Yeah, it wasn't fun, but it was well worth it.
And at least the weather was fairly cooperative.
Well, it was. Well, again,
I say fairly because it was
between cold. It got down to the low 40s,
but not while we were out. During the day, it was warm.
A little bit. You know,
you're from Jersey. Suck it up.
Well, I can only hope that any of you that are tap dancing on this thing that think that this is what's going to happen, just remember. There is no such thing.
There is no people's party.
Doesn't exist.
I actually have a good thing I want to start with, okay? Because I just wanted to look something up out of curiosity.
Sure.
So for anybody who is paying attention, excuse me.
Yes.
Squad. The definition of squad.
What is that?
Because I think, so the definition of squad is a small group of people having a particular task. I think that's very interesting. I would suggest that who we refer to as a squad is not a squad. They have no task. They're clearly not tasked to do anything. Their task is to lick Nancy Pelosi's buttocks and just be scared and cowards and spineless. And to me, that shouldn't even be a squad. So I don't think they're fraudulent. I just think they're completely cowardly. And the fact, the fact that she just did something now, sorry, too little, too late, friend. Sorry. And I have to say, if I ever make it there, if we ever get where we can oust our evil crone and I can get there, I actually am not going to be participating in this because they're Pinots and not like Pinot Grigio, Pinot, progressive in name only. According to Mark Pocan, nobody spoke up against the Chantel Brown endorsement in that congressional progressive. No one said anything. And he actually was on camera. You should pull up that video that Jordan did if we want to play it.
Yeah.
He actually went on camera and said that he's so pleased that there's 2 great progressives for people to choose from in the city of Cleveland. So I guess being a corporate whore now is progressive. I guess taking money from things like AIPAC and being against the Iran nuclear agreement makes you a progressive. I'm not feeling it. I will say shout out to Katie Porter, who obviously doesn't need to be a member of the spineless squad, actually did endorse Nina Turner because she's not scared of, acting on her convictions.
I think it goes without saying that the experience in Cleveland speaks volumes about kind of like where the state of the country is in many ways. If you guys want to see what crumbling infrastructure really looks like, the thing that Representative Brown is bragging about that she brought to Cleveland, of course, she had nothing to do with it, of course.
Now that's just mean. And if that's you, Declan, If you're going to jab physical appearance, I'm going to block you because I just don't want to hear it.
Who cares?
I have enough elderly insecurity. Go screw yourself. Anyway.
Please don't do that. So anyway, if I can continue. So Nina is trying to represent a part of the country where, we were canvassing in these neighborhoods. These homes are beautiful. They're considered the not so good part of town anymore because of how run down they've become. But this is what happens when so many people lose hope. So many people where they live, they don't know what to, they don't know what's coming. They don't know that the person who is supposedly representing them isn't really representing them.
No, they have no idea.
And so in the case of Representative Brown, we're talking about somebody who, again, just the simple fact that she takes unbelievable amounts of money from AIPAC and all of these Israel lobby groups. Do me a favor, I would ask.
If you say one more word to me, you will regret it. Thank you. Continue doing what you're doing.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think we're just kind of in a place where people don't realize they need something to point to say that this is how the corporate money actually affects the situation. And so in the case of what can you point to and say that Nina did, or excuse me, Chantel did? See, I'm all messed up right now because it's whole thing is.
She's done nothing. She's taken corporate money. She's done nothing. The truth is she hasn't been there long enough to have really done anything anyway, but she's done nothing.
Yeah, no, but again, she took that corporate money from AIPAC and then she turns around and doesn't support the Iran nuclear deal,
Well, of course,
which is one of the few, if not the best thing that Obama probably did during his presidency. You talk about trying to prevent nuclear war in the Middle East. It goes without saying that this is, listen, another agnostic, we hope you're right.
We do.
Based on what we've seen on the ground, there's no question that Nina has the superior ground game. That's for sure. Now, she may not have the monies last time, but the ground game is superior. We're going to talk about this with Jordan in a few minutes. The reason I believe that AOC just came out and endorsed Nina is very simple. The early voting numbers are in, and they are pretty favorable to Nina. So as a result of that, it's okay, I guess the waters are safe, so now I can swoop in at the last minute and try to help her get over the finish line. Well, look, no one should be saying that AOC shouldn't lend a hand, because with her platform, she could probably get a few hundred people on the phones, texting and making calls over the next 24 hours when the election will officially be over. And that would be huge, because every vote counts at this point. Don't take anything for granted, even if the early voting suggests that it's working out in Nina's favor. And I have no doubt that Chantel's people are absolutely going nuts, because when we were there, we didn't see any activity from her on the ground. In fact, I didn't see any canvassers on her vote.
And a good point that woman that Jordan interviewed made, the woman in, I guess in Lakewood, that new area, most of the Chantel signs were not in people's yards like Nina signs. Mostly when you saw Nina signs, they were in people's yards. When you saw Chantel signs, they were obviously placed by paid people just to be placed in public areas. And it is different because that doesn't necessarily indicate any one person's support for you. So I think there's definitely a difference. I still am not feeling I'm not willing to feel confident yet.
No,
but
I don't
needless to say, I'm disgusted. And just because Alex endorsed her doesn't mean she's going to do anything else over the next 24 hours. So that's a big jump.
Again, it's not, listen, at this point, there is no value in, Alex's endorsement from a money standpoint. Fundraising at this point, Nina has a pretty solid ground operation. I don't even know if she has, we didn't even talk about this with her team about whether or not she has a TV ad. I know she puts stuff on social media, but the whole point of having a last minute fundraising bonanza is if you have a really convincing TV ad and you want to get that out there to thousands and thousands of people over the course of the day. Because in Cleveland, voting is actually very long on election day. It's from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. That's 13 hours. So that's a long time for people to be able to get to the polls.
They have a lot of other negative voting things.
Well, that's true too. But also remember this, tomorrow is supposed to be a pretty crappy weather day. There is supposed to be a lot of rain, a lot of wind. So, you know what? We don't know. We supposedly had somebody who's supposed to be helping us with that. In fact, I'm going to text him right now.
But that's not really his area of expertise in any way. So I don't know.
Microphone problem.
I don't think
Maybe we need
that's
to
his
switch.
expertise. But
Do
anyway,
you think it might be like a crossover thing between the two mics or something?
it could be. I don't know. I don't know because I am not a microphone person. I'm just overall disgusted with all of those people. I am. The only person who has any backbone whatsoever is Katie Porter. She's the only one.
Bernie.
No, I'm talking about in Congress. Like I'm talking about in their little group. Bernie's not part of that group. And he's not in that Senate. It's a different animal. I'm just disgusted. And you know what? He wasn't there. He wasn't there. And it matters. It matters when you have people on the ground at events. It matters. And nobody was standing up for Nina because Mark Pocan says they've got two good progressives running in that race.
You know what? Honestly,
Crazy.
It's like you got to leave well enough alone. Like that's really what you needed to do.
They could have done nothing.
They could have just not said anything.
Yeah.
That would have looked bad anyway. But now you have Representative Pocan coming out and saying, we have two wonderful progressives. It's like, what is your definition of a progressive?
They're not. They don't have one. They just signed
Like
up.
you're literally gonna die on this hill. And let me tell you something. You better pray that Nina doesn't win. You better pray that she doesn't win.
No, don't give anybody that kind of power and mojo.
I'm just saying because
you know who?
Do you know how bad they're gonna look if she wins?
To me, wait. They already look bad.
Yeah.
They look bad because
They're gonna look 10 times worse.
They have no sense of anything. Like again, this is not a squad, people. This is a feckless group of spineless delegates.
The only reason, Andrew, that we could really justify as to why the endorsement is coming in now, again, Jordan Chariton is not just an amazing reporter, he's also a friend, and he did a show earlier today where he got some inside information. He was able to get his hands on the early vote count, and the early vote count suggests that Nina is doing well. And so as a result of that, now it's almost like, I don't want to miss the boat, so I better get on this before it's too late.
You know who does something like that? The same person who votes present on a really important bill instead of taking a stand.
Harley, we don't know why. We saw Jeff Weaver there.
He sent his surrogate. We're not going to mention the details of that.
Yeah, we'll leave that alone.
Nobody needs that mental image in their head.
Definitely agree, Henry, because Justice Dems was Kyle Kalinski's baby, and he's no longer involved.
Well, him and Cenk, which that's an interesting duo right there.
That ain't a duo anymore.
Well,
yeah.
So.
And Bernie did. And so that is why Bernie is willing to that's why I support Nina, because Nina supported me, and I have loyalty unlike other people.
Yeah, well, except you weren't there. And I'm sorry, but being there is more than half the battle. Loyalty only counts when you have something to lose. Loyalty only counts if you have skin in the game. Loyalty doesn't count when everybody's winning. That's just civility. Yeah. None of these people even know what loyalty means. And they're certainly not loyal to progressive ideals. They're not loyal to a cause. Again, this is not a squad. Squads have tasks. These people have no task. Their task is just to sit there with their thumbs up their asses and keep their position. I'm disgusted with every single one of them. And I know a few of those people. And it's disgusting to me.
This is what we've talked about constantly when it comes to, when Jen ran against Wasserman Schultz and she, we had a decent amount of fundraising. We didn't have winnable election type of fundraising. No. But ultimately, Jen was endorsed by Marianne Williamson and Andrew Yang. And especially with a lot of people, listen, a lot of people are obviously singing the praises of Marianne these days, but a lot of people have cast Andrew aside. We are very adamant about the fact that even though we have disagreements with Andrew, Andrew has something that a lot of others don't have, loyalty. And that is something that matters in politics because so few people have it. Andrew not only endorsed Jen, but no one helped our campaign more than his volunteers. The Yang Gang, they kick ass, and we will always support them, regardless of what you think of their politics. Because when it comes to non-corporate grassroots support, they're as good as it gets. And that's what you want. And when you have these guys saying, well, I support them, but they're not doing anything.
Right.
AOC, like I said, at the 11 o'clock hour, if she's going to endorse, that's great. And just make sure that you are emphasizing the importance of get on the phones, phone bank and text bank for Nina over the next 24 hours. That should be your only message. Nothing else. No grandstanding, no celebrating, no nothing. That's all it should be. It should just be get on the phones, get Nina over the finish line because we can win this thing.
To me, endorsing at this point is actually I'm not going to say it's worse because obviously I'm sure somebody might get inspired from that to go and vote. So great. Yay. Thank you. But it is so Johnny come lately that it's disgusting. That's like the person who only shows up to the party when they know the cool kids are there.
Well, let's figure out exactly where everything stands, because this gentleman who's coming on, as you know, he's also the person who basically dropped the information this afternoon about what the early voting numbers were in Ohio's 11th congressional district. There was a lot to unpack.
He missed a really good dinner last night, I must say.
Yeah, but hey, everything
Just
has a reason to, right?
Yeah.
Jordan Chariton of Status Coup News, welcome back to Generational Change.
Hey.
I can hear you. Can you see us? Can you hear us? Jordan, give us a thumbs up. I don't know if you can see us. Maybe
Why can't he see us? I don't know, but it's not on our end.
This was the same problem I had.
We hear you and see you. Hey,
We
Colin.
hear you, brother.
You have a headphone jack?
Yeah.
Let's pull him for a moment.
Okay, let him figure out. He's having technical difficulties.
Maybe he can't hear us or see us, so let me confirm with you.
So I must say that there's a lot of good food in Cleveland.
Yes, there is.
And I was very pleased with what we had. And
Barrio.
Barrio,
Great Tex-Mex.
great.
Really great,
It was
really
great.
incredible. I love the Mexicans.
Mallorca we ate at last night, which
Yeah, that
was
was really
really
good
good
as well.
Spanish food. And then Taza that we ate when we first got there. It's a Lebanese place.
Yes. Oh, yes.
The Lebanese place. I think it's Taza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
really,
I can't really
good.
decide which was the best place that we ate at. I mean, you had a little of everything depending on what type of food you actually like.
Okay, and who picks the restaurants?
I mean, I don't want to take that much credit.
No,
I mean,
it's me. I think I kind of get that from my mom. Like, if I'm going somewhere, I'm not going to waste a meal unless I know. Like, I'm not going to eat badly unless I know it's good bad. It's got to be good bad.
Yeah.
We had good bad food.
Jordan's working on the tech issue right now. He says he can't hear us, so he'll be on in a minute. So
Okay.
we'll get that figured out. Actually, Brian, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't agree with that at all. I don't. I actually
No,
think
you hit the wrong one.
no.
LeBron?
If you're talking about LeBron, I don't agree. He thinks that AOC's endorsement can hurt LeBron. I don't agree with that at all. I'm just being honest. I mean, I know there are people who think that would help, but especially because LeBron's not in Cleveland anymore. I mean, it would be one thing if he was playing for the team right now. Maybe that might make a difference.
They know just to start talking sports to you.
Well, that's what gets me going. So,
Peter made like 3 new best friends traveling to and from.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, now that I, do a few different things, I mean, it certainly helps when you diversify the portfolio, and I'm an outgoing person.
And you know what? Some of the stuff that bothers me was what we heard about Jewish outreach. Like, there definitely are things when this campaign is over that we're going to have to discuss and do sort of like a post-game analysis. But some of the stuff from what I think was not done right early enough in this campaign. And that's something that concerns me. It may not matter. Maybe it doesn't matter, but I have concerns.
I really think that what it really comes down to is, could it make that big of a difference? Probably not, because on paper, it doesn't really, this is really late in the game. But like I said, Alex's reach is so big that if she were able to convince, like a couple of hundred people to get on the phones for Nina over the last 24 hours, then I would say that could.
No, Mario, it's not about that. Yes, better late than never. I do agree. But the problem is an endorsement alone, if you don't actually commit any people or platform or any of your resources to helping, really isn't enough at this point. It isn't, because if you're just giving an endorsement, then the only value that has is the amount of people in that area that can learn of that endorsement so that you could use that endorsement. At this late stage of the game, that is not what matters. What matters is using her platform to get people on the phones. So it's not that it doesn't matter at all. It just, an endorsement in and of itself doesn't really do anything for somebody unless it's huge.
So let's try it again. You know him from Status Coup News. He brings you he's the real journalism integrity man. Jordan Chariton, welcome back to Generational Change.
It's really striking how you guys really match so well with those shirts.
We didn't even talk about it.
We don't usually. We've only messed up once. We've only messed up once where we showed up at the same one, but we're usually pretty good.
Pretty sharp on that point.
Yeah.
So you missed a really good dinner last night, Jordan. Just
I'm
saying.
sorry
I don't
to
know where
hear
you, but the
I
Spanish
had.
food.
I hope my wife's not watching. I had. What do we have? Cheesy bread, and wings, and some other things I won't get into.
Okay.
But we were trying to get out, powerful content. So sorry I missed it.
No,
It's
thank
definitely,
you.
let's put it this way, it's definitely not food on a budget, but it was really good. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
will definitely say, as I'm sure you would agree, guys, if you're ever in Cleveland, Barrio is a fantastic place
Yeah,
to
that
go
was
have
really
tacos.
That wasn't the
Really-
one off the budget though. You're kind of
Is it?
complaining.
Is
I'm
my
hoping
nose
no-
as red as it looks like in this video?
Yeah, you look
Yeah,
a little
your
red,
nose
a
looks
little,
red.
little Rudolph, but not too bad.
Were you
I
out?
got
You
some
were outside
color.
today.
Yeah,
I don't know. Weird.
That color.
Yeah, I was outside.
You need to put something on that when you go out. You're supposed to be wearing sunblock.
Yes. Thank you, Mom.
Okay.
So,
I'm just saying.
all right,
but
so you know what?
let me tell you, but
The
my
floor's
favorite,
yours.
my favorite part of this trip was following you guys knocking on doors. So,
But we
thank you for
definitely
having
looked
me.
a lot of the electorate. That's
We are so fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're just a
A
laugh
couple,
riot.
couple of sound bites and stuff. All right, so look, you know what? Obviously, we've been dissecting it. Let's just get right into it. I think Alex's endorsement can obviously have some benefit in terms of getting people on the phones. Look, her reach is very large. And if she says, guys, we need you to phone bank and text bank for Nina over the next 24 hours before polls close at 7:30 tomorrow night, I would like to think that could have an impact. Better late than ever, but it is a lot of political calculation here. And I would like to think a lot of that political calculation has to do with the fact that people in her camp watch her channel. And this afternoon, they found out that the early voting numbers are definitely breaking towards Nina. And they kind of feel like the water's kind of safe. Would you say that's sort of a safe assessment at this point?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too excited about the early voting numbers and give people a sense of false complacency, because
Yes.
although the numbers, particularly in the area Chantel Brown crushed Nina Turner, are low for Chantel Brown in early voting, that doesn't mean the wealthy won't rally and the upper middle class won't rally and show up on election day. But as of now, compared to how Chantel Brown performed, if I were AOC or Nina Turner's campaign, I was looking at these numbers. Chantel Brown's not doing as well as she was in early voting in August. I hate to be the bear, like the Debbie Downer, but I don't really think AOC's endorsement, the true strength of it is two things. Number one, with young people, college students, and number two, fundraising. But it's too late. Fundraising. I mean, you can't really do much, even if they raised $1 million overnight. Polls are open at like 7 a.m. You can't even get on television that quickly. So although, it's not a bad thing to raise more money, that can't really make much of a difference on election eve. In terms of college students, it certainly would have made a big difference 2-3 weeks ago. Again, phone banking, sure. I mean, I'm sure they have Nina's campaign, kind of has their sections of who they're calling. I'm sure they have a section of college students, young people, the Black community, specifically under 40 crowd who might know AOC. But again, I mean, Jen, you ran for Congress. This is all very difficult the night before. And we should also add, it's going to be pouring out tomorrow for a lot of the day here. So there's the will it have an impact part, and then there's the analyzing why she did it so late. Will it have an impact? I hate to say, I don't think so. It'll get national headlines. So maybe, as you experienced, to the Cleveland voter who doesn't even know there's a primary, maybe that will make more people aware that there is a primary because they see on their phone a pop-up, AOC endorses Nina Turner. But overall, the worst thing that could happen is Nina Turner wins by 500 votes, and then squad sicko fans say, hey, it was AOC. I don't think AOC is going to have much of an impact. And I think, frankly, it's clearly she chose to endorse the night before. If you want to be fair, if you want to give her the benefit of the doubt, there was so much pressure on her not to do it. That's why she didn't do it. But she has numbers to show it's really close and Nina could win. And she's doing it to put Nina over the top. So that would be the benefit of the doubt position, that she genuinely is bucking Jayapal, bucking the CPC, bucking Pelosi, and all of the neoliberal death squad, because she sees that it's close and she wants to put Nina over the top. What I think is happening is she's seeing the numbers. I don't want people to be complacent and think Nina's definitely going to win, but she's seeing that the numbers are looking good for Nina, and she wants to jump on the winning horse.
I just want to say, I actually think the most relevant numbers that we've talked about, whether it was us talking the other day or you this on your show today, the Republican vote situation. I think that's incredibly relevant.
Let's not hop into that just yet. I think that's definitely,
Why?
but no, because I think that's relevant to the conversation. But I also think what's important to remember, and I do want to touch on what Jessica said. Yes, for those of you who don't know, we were in Cleveland for the past 3 days. And so our revolution does have volunteers there. They are on the ground. They are helping. I did not see any brand new Congress volunteers. There were obviously, again, the ground game was infinitely more emphasized this time around. So even if if Nina wasn't getting the big time endorsements from any of the big wigs, and as Ben Libro points out here, Chantel had to bring in the entire cavalry over the past couple of days, to basically try to boost up her support, which, like you said, Jordan, if the campaign was really going well for Chantel, she really wouldn't have felt the need to have to call in literally everybody, including the worst endorsement of all, Sherrod Brown, who's supposed to be one of the good senators in this country. And again, as you've said, sometimes no endorsement is better than the wrong endorsement. And the fact that they've all decided to get behind Chantel really speaks a lot about probably just how good Nina's ground game really has been.
Well, I think the most important and the most telling of those endorsements was Biden, because Biden has only endorsed one other candidate this cycle for all congressional races. So it's not like a simple thing where you just get the president's endorsement in one day. It's a process. There's a lot of people vying for it. So the fact that Biden endorsed her, I think it was Friday, so 5 days before, really tells you, this is just speculation, that there was some begging going on among her campaign to get the president's endorsement, because she flipped around like within 5 seconds and had a video, attaching herself for dear life around Biden. So I think the fact that Biden endorsed her so close to it suggests the campaign felt they needed it, because Biden's popularity is not what it was in August anywhere, and in Cleveland. And I also think the fact that Clyburn was here, Hakeem Jeffries, Sherrod Brown, Tim Ryan. There was another one, I don't know her name. They wouldn't be rushing in. And if you look at the FEC filings, a lot of this super PAC money came like within the last week or two. So all of this does not spell a candidate whose numbers are good. And from what I've heard from people on the ground here, Chantel Brown's ground game is the television ads. She doesn't have a ground game. All she has is the labor unions. They're knocking on doors like they were in August, but I don't really know if that's enough when you actually have a vibrant ground game, which I think Nina Turner's campaign has a much better ground game this time. So I think it's going to be close. I think it could come down potentially to a point or two. But in this case, all you could say is it looks like Nina Turner's campaign has run the right way. And if she loses by a small amount, I will say you really can't blame Nina Turner this time. You have to look at the broader progressive movement, because she had no support when it mattered. And, no disrespect to Keith Ellison, but that's not exactly, galvanizing enthusiasm.
Well, one of the things that we talked about to you that I think is not getting talked about enough, and Jen, if you want to piggyback on it, there's really something to be said about the Jewish vote in the eastern suburbs and what an impact we particularly think that Josh Mandel, who's running in the GOP primary for the Senate, who I didn't even realize until today is actually from Cleveland. So to say that...
Peter, can I do an impersonation real quick?
Sure.
Please.
Because I've been seeing these Josh Mandel ads on TV here. Boys are boys and girls are girls. Black Lives Matter, they're the racists. What did he say about the Bible?
It's a book of love.
The Bible is a book of love and some other Christianity shit. These ads on the Republican end, they're on a loop. They're really out batshitting each other. Who could be more batshit? Sorry to interrupt. I was just doing my Jack Van Dyke.
I think that there was definitely difficulty in the August election regarding the Jewish community. That was definitely a problem by design. You've got all of the Israel PACs basically flooding Chantel's campaign because Nina dares to think that Palestinians deserve to live a life of dignity. So how dare she? And so that is, unfortunately, a lot of the single issue that you're talking about in the Jewish community. There are people, I know them personally, not Cleveland people, they vote on Israel. That's it. That's what they vote on. However, a good majority of those people are not Democrats. And I think that that's an important thing, especially in this particular primary. I don't think that that should be overlooked, especially given the margin that Nina lost by last time. So, I mean, that was something I think is relevant. So if you would talk about that.
I don't just think it's relevant. I think it could be the factor on why Nina Turner wins. The determinative, I was looking for the word. Determinating factor is a lot. Josh Mandel is from Cleveland. So he's from Cleveland. He's Jewish. He's right wing. So particularly in Beechwood, which actually, as you were telling me, has a lot of Orthodox Jews. A lot of those Jewish voters voted for Chantel Brown in August. They are not voting for Chantel Brown this time. They're going to vote for Josh Mandel, or some of them maybe Vance, but most of them Josh Mandel. So even if you cut off 2,000 to 3,000 of those Republican voters who voted in the Democratic primary last time, but are not going to vote in the Democratic primary this time, then it's basically a tie between Chantel Brown and Nina Turner, because that was Chantel Brown's margin of victory last time. And then you look at the additions to this district, for those that aren't from Cleveland. Lakewood is now part of the district. Bernie Sanders won it twice, 2016 and 2020. The turnout in Lakewood right now is relatively low, but there's really nothing to compare it to because they weren't part of the district. About almost 800 early votes between in-person and absentee ballots requested. But in an overall election with low turnout, that could be that plus another area having an increase could be the deciding factor in favor of Nina Turner. 100% of Cleveland is now part of this district. Nina Turner won Cleveland by 10 points. The additional parts of Cleveland that have been added are mostly white. However, I mean, who knows? It could be the two black candidates, could be white voters who just don't vote, or it could be white voters that split between Brown and Nina Turner. So I think all of these factors, definitely the Republicans not voting in the Democratic primary this time. And I will say, thinking back to Bernie's Iowa caucus strategy, Nina Turner has been targeting the Muslim community here. She's been targeting the Latino community here. Not a huge percentage of the population in Cleveland, but you get an additional, 500, 600 votes between certain buckets, you have a victory. So I think, frankly, if Chantel Brown loses, I think it will be, go to kind of that Democratic incumbent arrogance, probably thinking she won because, people just want her and want an establishment Dem rather than realizing, the Republican Party elected me, not the Democratic Party. And also, let's not mistake it, not to get too in the weeds, Marcia Fudge, who was the longtime Congresswoman here, that's why there was a special election, because she became HUD secretary. She's kind of pulling strings behind the scenes. Her machine is deployed for Chantel Brown. So I really think Chantel Brown's main hope is she's got to run up the numbers in Beechwood, which, based on the numbers I'm seeing, and I tweeted, they're lower for her in early voting than they were in 2021. And she's going to have to turn some of Cleveland that voted for Nina Turner to her. I don't really see a reason why within 6 months people would change their mind from Nina to Chantel Brown.
No, we actually met a couple people that are in the other direction. And one of the people that I talked to is quite sick of the negative ads in particular, because that same negative ad that they ran on a loop with Nina in August, it's the same information. So she hasn't even come up with a new plot line. And we talked to someone who's just so sick of looking at the negative ads. So it really does leave a bad taste in people's mouth. There are people that voted for Chantel in August that are now not going to vote for her. And I don't see a lot of it ever going in the other direction. I can't imagine someone voted Nina in August and is now going to go like, oh, I like that Chantel. She's really done good for us. So I only see that in that one direction. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't see that. And also, I think there's another factor. Somebody said to me today, I think, nice guy, but I think he's crazy. Oh, Chantel's going to win by 30 because she's an incumbent now. And I'm like, yeah, but she's been an incumbent for 5 minutes and most people didn't vote in that election. So unless they simply vote for whoever they see is the incumbent, which I don't think most people think that way. She's not really a traditional incumbent. The ads are nice. They're misleading. They pretend that she somehow played a part in passing the infrastructure deal, which she got sworn in like 2 weeks before Biden signed it. So she had no part in that. I think she took credit for billions of dollars that really were Sherrod Brown brought to Cleveland. But I don't really see a huge movement of Nina voters shifting to Chantel Brown. I also think somebody said this to me today. Oh, the Our Revolution person. When it's raining out, it takes a really committed type voter to stand in the rain. And Chantel Brown might have voters that would vote for her, but does she have voters who want to go out in a thunderstorm? Because between like 4 and 7 o'clock tomorrow, it's supposed to thunder here. I'm not a meteorologist. It could change, but that's what it says on the forecast. Do you want to, after work, go stand on a line in a thunderstorm? I mean, you have to be really committed to Chantel Brown to do that. Whereas Nina Turner voters, I think are more committed to stand out in a line and go out in the rain. So It's all, I don't want to predict, but the numbers definitely look promising for Nina. And I really think, I just published a video on it. I really think this new part of Lakewood could be determinative. But I will say, just so it's here on camera, and there's a record of it, first Nina's got elected, but people should remember, the Ohio Supreme Court has not ruled yet whether on this district. There's a chance they could rule that the lines were drawn unconstitutionally, which of course would happen to us if Nina Turner won. So I spoke with a few people about that today. They don't expect the Supreme Court to do that because it would be pretty bold, but we've seen many different ways progressives get screwed, including India Walton. So that's just something people should remember, that there's been a lot of battles over redistricting here, and it's gone to the courts, and the Ohio Supreme Court is still considering these new lines in this election.
I don't think that Representative Brown would have anywhere near the pull of Mayor Brown, ironically enough, up in Buffalo. But what are your thoughts? I mean, obviously, we have strong opinions about Cenk Uygur, but of course,
Who's
we
that?
did get involved.
Well, look, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So,
if his financial support has made any impact, obviously for Nina, Nina really is the great unifier, even with so much of this dissension on the left, with the exception of, who. Even the people who are the most nihilistic, I think, really see the value in Nina, even if they think that electoral politics really doesn't have as much relevance, obviously, especially those that see the value in really just going to mutual aid and, of course, the labor movement. But I really do think that Nina is somebody who could have a tremendous impact on, not just the squad, but obviously on the movement itself. I mean, she's a natural born leader. And I think even with people that we disagree with in terms of strategy, somebody like Cenk, if he's putting up his money to help Nina, we're certainly very appreciative.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'd love to get rid of super PACs. Until that day, I give credit to Cenk for putting his money where his mouth is, because at least it's going to a candidate that, will actually use the money to win. And based on her record, not be just a corporate rubber stamp. So, I know a lot of people would say, no, we don't want any super PAC money. But the difference is, like, do you really think Nina Turner, if elected, is going to be like, serving TYT? No, I mean, it's not going to be serving Cenk Uygur. So yeah, credit to him for putting his money where his mouth is. I haven't really seen TV ads for Nina Turner. I think a lot of the money has gone more towards this ground game and that kind of stuff. But, in a campaign like this, that's what you need to defeat the big money. And the other thing is, what I say to the people who are like, who cares? Yeah, Nina's fine, but she's just going to go in there and be like the squad. Well, wealthy people are generally not morons. I could tell you, there is not all this money that has gone to defeat Ilhan Omar or AOC she's ran again and gotten reelected, or Rashida Tlaib. I mean, there were money against her, but not like, 5 or 6 super PACs all at once. They're not spending this money thinking like, if Nina Turner's elected, the most aggressive thing she'll do is like write a letter kindly asking Biden to do something. They think she is a threat, and she will actually be a thorn in corporations and the powerful sides. That doesn't mean she's going to be perfect. She will, do things that probably the progressive movement don't like from time to time. But I think the progressive movement needs to get out of this kind of this absolutist thinking, where if politicians or even YouTube hosts are not saying or doing what they want at all the time, we're not with them. I mean, the squad, I think it's past the point. I mean, it's a lot of things now. But, for example, if Nina Turner gets elected, there's going to be bills that overall are not good for the nation or could be better for the country. But there's part of it that's going to give immediate help to Cleveland, which she represents. And it would be her job to vote for those bills to help Cleveland. But that doesn't mean she won't agitate on other things and be more aggressive against the status quo in the Democratic Party. And I definitely, in terms of the Amazon workers movement, they had a small setback today. Starbucks workers, the strikes. I definitely feel a lot better having Nina Turner in there as somebody who could, activate those workers and work with them.
Yeah, and I think somebody like Nina, as I'm sure you would agree, look, the labor movement is just starting to take shape. Somebody like Nina, who has actively been visiting with the Starbucks workers in Cleveland that are trying to form a union. I mean, that's just one, but you're not going to see somebody like Representative Brown doing something like that. And something that simple really makes a huge difference in the movement.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about that a representative's responsibility to use their platform in their district to make local change is huge. It should not be underestimated how much power they could have to do that. Most of them don't use it to do any of those things. But that is something that I do believe Nina would be out and doing. She is somebody that would be out there with the labor organizers and be out there speaking to those owners and fighting for people. I do believe that. And I do believe that she would use her platform, at least at a local sense, as best she could for the most vulnerable people in her district.
Right. And I also think there's something to be said for, God love Bernie, but everybody knows his speech, right? So when Bernie goes to the Senate floor now and, rants about the billionaires, I mean, I don't want to say falling on deaf ears, but it's nothing new. But I think having somebody in there that could give a barn burner of a speech, either on the House floor or in media, and even call out Biden and the Democratic Party if necessary. We need to activate the base. I mean, the progressive base has been deflated, and there's a lot of fracturing. And I think we need to step away from the thinking of savior politicians. She won't be a savior. She's not going to get us Medicare for all single-handedly. But we also have to get away from this thinking like, it doesn't matter, screw electoral politics. I mean, just because a bunch of 30-something politicians like AOC and, some of these others, to me, are politically naive or just can't tap into their courage when it matters doesn't mean, a more seasoned politician who has had a record of fighting. I mean, people shouldn't forget, basically for 5 years, she barnstormed the country to elect Bernie Sanders. And she has a record of fighting and doing things, not when it could benefit her. When she spurned Hillary Clinton in 2015 and endorsed Bernie Sanders, there was no benefit to her. At that time, when she did it, Bernie's campaign had not taken off. So I think people need to look less at the fact that she's running as a Democrat, and more at who it is. And, a moment that we got yesterday or 2 days ago, just walking in the street, you can't interview Nina Turner because it's like almost everyone in the community knows her. And, she was a teacher, and she bumped into a student who, when Nina Turner was this student's professor, he was on hard times. Some things were going on in his life, and he thanked her and said, "You were like a mother to me." And she just broke down in tears. And I don't think it was for the cameras. It seemed very genuine to me. And I think that's what Nina is. She doesn't play to like the YouTube crowd. She's genuine and simply wants to help people.
Yeah, Brian, does this race even matter in a GOP house? Absolutely. Because it's all cumulative and aggregate. It's you build up people over time. Okay, it's a weird, I'm going to make a sports analogy, but our team our Dolphins has a different coach every year. You have a different coach every year. You're never going to get anywhere with that. You have to have certain people that are building up certain power coalitions and working with people, yes, on the GOP, that can actually do things. And you need someone like Nina, who I can tell you wouldn't vote present. That's cowardly. And I honestly, can we stop calling people a squad? A squad is a group of people with a task. These people have no task. So it's not a squad. It's spineless people that are clamoring to keep their own positions, and they're not willing to put their neck on the line for something greater than themselves. And that is not a squad to me. Sorry.
Well, I gotta tell you something. AOC gets the punches, but I mean, shame on all of them. You don't have like a mafia hit on you, folks. if you stepped outside the CPC and endorsed her, okay.
Like Katie Porter did. Katie Porter did. That's somebody who has courage, and that's somebody who actually is in a more losable district than a lot of these people. Right. So
how much premium do you put on Representative Pocan making the statement that he made today, and almost like the whole group of them felt like they were backed into a corner and like somebody had to say something. Listen, you take what you can get, but you almost have to wonder if it was, total political calculation at that point.
I think you guys know that AOC endorsing Nina Turner, that wouldn't have happened in like 4 hours.
Right.
I assume the campaign and her were in communications. I'm sure the campaign was in communications with the others, trying to get somebody. So I don't really think it was because of what Pocan said. If they had no shame before that, I don't think Mark Pocan on MSNBC drove her to it. I think it was probably in the works, and I'm sure the campaign was providing her and others with the numbers. And AOC, if you want to give her the benefit of the doubt, like I said, saw that it was close and thought maybe she could help in some way put Nina Turner. Maybe she said, I can't look in the mirror. If I could have done something to put Nina Turner over the top, that's the generous interpretation of it. Probably reality was she saw that Nina Turner might win. And she wanted to, because it would look really fucking bad if Nina Turner wins and not one of them did anything. Then I think it would be a lot worse for all of them.
Alberto, it's not a grudge. I don't ever really do that. I call her out when she needs to be called out, and voting present is one of the most cowardly, spineless things I can think of doing.
Said it about Tulsi when she did it.
Yeah. So no, I won't let that go because her job is to fight for her people. This isn't personal. I have nothing personally against any of those. Got to
stop looking at representatives as heroes. That's not what their jobs are. And
I would say Alberto, because I don't know you. I'm sure you're nice, but this whole argument, there are only hopes, so stop shitting on them. Well, pressure works. So pressure works, right? So AOC got shamed for canceling on Amazon, and then she showed up for them. Whatever her reason now, I'm sure she heard the criticism of her not endorsing Nina Turner. So you can't just put a little bubble around four people, because by their own standards, politicians need to be accountable to activists, and they're now politicians. I think it's one thing to criticize them on specific cases like Jen does, myself, Peter. It's another thing to, make a YouTube channel based on stupid hashtags and venom. None of us are doing that, but you got to get out of this here. You got to get out of this hero worship.
Yeah, I think we often talk about the working between the inside and the outside strategy. That matters. That matters. We do not, it's like we get criticized for supporting electoral politics, but then we get criticized for wanting to sort of work from the outside as well and encourage our inside politics people to do their job. Those things have to work together. You can't expect somebody to always do the right thing. Sometimes people need to know that their constituents are displeased with them. That's part of that job, is dealing with that. And I think it's important, just like I think having decent people inside is important. Both of those things have to work together. I feel like we get criticized no matter which side of that we're talking about. I kind of think I'm going to throw all your shit against the wall, something's going to stick kind of person. And that's how I approach this.
All right.
Yeah. And again, listen, you guys got to be, I say this to everybody with all due respect, you've got to be willing. That to me that's just important.
Yeah.
It really is. And again, if you think that you're being too harsh, that's just life sometimes. And being on the ground in Cleveland, there is no real infrastructure benefit that I've seen. A lot of the homes are run down. The infrastructure is not, the money's not there. It is not in that district, and it desperately needs it. So this to me,
well, it is.
Really,
it is.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Okay.
Like every major city now, the money's been spent downtown. We're downtown right now. There's 2 great sports stadiums and restaurants and bars, and and then you drive 7 to 10 minutes down the road, and it's an entirely different city and run down. So that's the story of America. I don't even bother with gentrification. I just call it economic terrorism. And it's happening in Cleveland too, and that's the shame of it all. Because not to anybody, no fault of the voters, but because so many people are apathetic and checked out politically, that's the shame of it. To look at like Democratic majority for Israel and now an AIPAC super PAC and these other super PACs who don't give a flying fuck about you and the people of Cleveland. None of these ads have anything to do with Israel, but they're doing it not for Cleveland. They're doing it to maintain the status quo, in terms of Israel and Palestine and Iran and the nuclear deal and all those things. So it's a shame because basically your city is being sold and being bought by people that don't care about the potholes, people that don't care about the food deserts, people that don't care about the gentrification, the poverty, the lead in the water. And that's not just in Cleveland.
Yeah. And guys, if you've not been to Cleveland, I actually am becoming quite a fan. First of all, it's one of my favorite characteristics is it's underpopulated, which if you live down here, that's a big selling point to me.
We are very overpopulated in South Florida.
But what I was talking to with people, then we were canvassing, there was one thing that I did notice consistently. They all know that their city needs some love. They all know that their city has fallen by the wayside. I had one woman say, this isn't even the same as it was 10 years ago. And by the way, this is canvassing in a nice neighborhood. This is in Cleveland Heights. It's a very nice neighborhood. This isn't people that are the hurtingest people. And they know their city needs love. And I remember saying to somebody, have you noticed how all your stadiums are now named after banks? And that whole corporatist takeover is Cleveland really is a tale of two cities. Like it's so blatant.
Yeah. And the gentrification is real.
It's horrible. But they know it. So to me, I think that was something I felt was positive, that there was some self-awareness, that they realized that, yeah, they need some help and they're not getting what they need.
And they are not going to get it with the current representative.
Oh, got it.
However, if Nina does win tomorrow, is it going to completely change Cleveland? No, but you know what? Over time, somebody like her is going to have a tremendous impact. And if nothing else, the Democratic Party really needs that type of shot in the arm, because Ohio is basically turning into a red state. Like, I know it's technically a swing state, but my goodness,
No.
at this
Let
point,
me tell you, I was at a JD Vance event this morning.
Oh, yeah,
and,
talk about that. How was that?
oh God, how was that? We got there on the tail end. Josh Hawley was speaking. Charlie Kirk was there too. You know, the best way to describe it is kind of like a white resentment revival party, where you look at the crowd. You know, no disrespect, but mostly older white people were in the crowd, and I heard a lot of amen to Josh Hawley speaking in the crowd. A lot of, you know, every state is a open border state now. Just kind of like the best hits of the border and critical race theory, and maybe they were talking about LGBTQ stuff earlier, and I wasn't there. And I interviewed.
They fixate on the trans issue.
Yeah, I interviewed people after, which it'll be on Breaking Points tomorrow, and you know, I just held my tongue because I just wanted to do like a straight, who are you voting for and why? And yeah, most of these people couldn't name their interests, but they're certainly voting against them. And, you know, they were nice people, but they're definitely, you know, a lot of the stuff coming out of their mouth, you could trace back to like a Tucker Carlson.
Harley he's the pirate, right?
Josh Hawley
He's the pirate.
Pirate?
Is he the pirate?
No, that's not. No. Josh Hawley is the Missouri senator.
Yeah. Well, where are you getting pirate from?
Who's the guy with the eye patch?
Oh, you're talking about Dan Crenshaw.
Okay, sorry.
He's
sorry,
a
I'm
congressional
sorry.
representative in South Texas.
Sorry, I was thinking eye patch.
I think that what we've learned and you couldn't have said it better, Jordan. They don't know what they're voting for, but they know they're probably voting against their own best interests. So yeah, that's. But ironically enough, it looks like if Nina wins, Josh Mandel was the wild card. He really will have played a huge role.
Thank you, Josh.
In pulling that suburban conservative Jewish vote away from Chantel. And that, to me, probably more than anything else, was why they started freaking out, because her people probably were doing sort of like, you know, some type of polls amongst those communities and finding out that, no, we're voting in the GOP primary. And at that point, they're like, all right, well, where do we go? Like, what are we supposed to do? And so all of that money, I don't think it's going to work. I mean, listen, if she had a really vibrant ground game, yeah, then it's probably something you would have to be concerned with. But when you don't offer anything, when you are completely engulfed, and she is completely engulfed by corporate special interest money, there is no enthusiasm for that. People know it's crap, and they know that they're not going to be represented. Yeah, people may vote for them, but are they going to go be knocking door to door, asking people to come out and vote for this representative that they know is completely on the take? No. And that is the difference in what we're trying to do. So one of the last things
I also think what you're saying, most of the TV ads I saw for Chantel Brown were positive ads, not negative against Brown, against Turner. I'm sure there have been, but I haven't seen them on TV. And that goes to what you're saying, because she's not, you know, I think her numbers and her campaigns outreach is showing they're not gonna have those as many Jewish voters and Republican voters. So they're not doing ads so critical of Nina Turner, at least on TV from what I'm seeing, because they're trying to shift more of Cleveland and more of the places that were closer or went to Nina to her, based on this, you know, rainbows and sunshines bullshit that she's been a great congresswoman, even though she's done nothing. So that's why I would assume there's more positive ads.
Last thing before you go, what is your take on obviously what happened today in New York with the Amazon labor union attempt at the second distribution center? Obviously, you know, it didn't pass, and unfortunately the vote wasn't that close. But our attitude is, this is the start of something much, much bigger. This is only the beginning. There are going to be, frankly, especially in the first couple of years, there's going to be a lot more losses than there are going to be wins. The fact that all of these Starbuckses are unionizing is actually a really great sign. Companies like Amazon and especially a company like Walmart, it's going to take a lot to knock down those dominoes, but you have to start somewhere. And the fact that these votes are even happening, I think sets precedents, much like what happened in Bessemer, Alabama. It has to start somewhere. Even though they didn't win today, it's still a really great sign. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they did lose by a sizable margin, but people should also know about this particular. It's a sorting center, and it's I would say 40 to 50% of the workers are part-time, so that does play a part. Because part-time workers obviously are less secure than full-time workers. So that union busting is very, very impactful if you're threatening part-time workers who probably don't have enough hours as it is, with your hours being cut. Because that's part of the union busting. Manager been saying, if you guys unionize, we might have to cut hours, cut pay, blah, 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 blah. So part-time workers have less security, not full benefits, if any benefits. So I think that did play a part. Also, it has 1,600 workers. I think, pretty sure like 900 voted. So a lot of the workers did not vote. So I wouldn't say have zero concern about this, but I also don't think this is I read the corporate media accounts and they're already making it seem like, maybe the first one was a fluke. This was so different and a much smaller place than the big warehouse. So I just see it as a setback. I don't think anyone should worry. And like the electoral system and the progressive movement electorally, guys, this stuff does not happen without setbacks, does not happen without losing many battles. Just to win the first mega battle is huge. Not like this smaller sorting center is going to stop all these other warehouses that already contacted Amazon Labor Union wanting to organize and unionize. So definitely a setback. And I would say the realistic expectations is, particularly in more red states, right to work states, you might have defeats along the way. Remember, these are not Starbucks cafes with like 25, 30 workers. Like a small Amazon warehouse is 1,600 workers. So you're going to have defeats. But I of all the movements I've covered, I think Christian Smalls and the other leaders are really impressive. And I think they have a good strategy and they don't seem deterred. I mean, I haven't seen everything because I'm in Cleveland, but based on what I've seen from the tweets and some initial things, they're not like in fetal position over this. So I would look at the specific circumstances of this warehouse. A lot more part-time workers, which explains why a lot of them would have voted no. But onward, I say.
Yeah, I wouldn't get defeatist about that at all. I mean, I think that that's just typical in this whole system. It's like it's like what, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or whatever it is. Like that's just how it works.
Yeah, and again, we fight on the front where it's like we went to Cleveland this weekend for Nina, and we did it because we love her and what she stands for. We didn't have to be paid to do that.
No.
The people that are supporting Chantel, the people that are supporting Amazon corporate, they have to be paid to support these causes.
Yeah.
The causes of labor and the environment are causes that we fight for because we truly believe in it. And what you're doing on the ground is fantastic. Before you go, do we want to do a prediction for tomorrow? Or we should stay.
No, we're not going to do a prediction, but have Jordan promote all his stuff.
Promote what you're going to be doing tomorrow, especially if anybody's going to be in Cleveland, if they want to come and meet you at the polls or anything like that.
And God damn it, I want to beat Jim Clyburn. This Death Star needs to be defeated. I'm tired of this fuck dropping in election after election.
All right, guys. Shout out to Marcel Dixon. Marcel Dixon, who was challenging Jim Clyburn in the primary. Anyway, sorry.
Biggest recipient of Big Pharma money. Anyway, tomorrow, I'll be at a polling place. I got to look in the morning which polling places I want to go to. So definitely sign up for Status Coup's text list because you might get a YouTube notification every other year. But if you sign up for our text list, you'll get a text message when we're live. So that's statuscoup.com/text. So we'll be at a polling place probably in the afternoon, and then we'll be at the election night watch party for Nina Turner, and hopefully her victory speech.
Yeah, we're kind of playing mojo.
And we'll be live. We'll be live on our YouTube channel for that as well.
Yeah, that's the best place to watch this, guys. Tomorrow night, definitely go on and watch Jordan's stream on Status Coup.
Yeah, just got a text from our champion, and hopefully, look, better late than ever, Alex. We're glad you're in the fight. Hopefully, whatever effort you can make, especially getting people. I mean, listen, when you've got 10 million plus followers and supporters, I'd like to think if you said, guys, I need you to get on the phone and text and phone bank,
Get out the vote.
she'll probably get a few hundred people to step up and do it, and that could make the difference, especially over the next 22 hours. I mean, especially starting tomorrow. And like you said, Jordan, one of the huge advantages, ironically enough, that Nina's going to have tomorrow is it is going to rain. The enthusiasm factor is huge when the weather is not good. So I would like to think.
Jordan, read that. Now, I can say from seeing video footage shown to me by Jordan that he is very entertaining while high.
Peace.
Let me tell you something. I'll give you a behind the scenes. I don't smoke that much.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, but I interviewed Tommy Chung on 420, and
Coolest thing ever.
after I was so chonged that I dabbled in some cannabis, and let's just say I had my dog scared.
You know what? Considering all of the stress that you have to deal with doing what you do, the least you can do is mellow out when you can. And if cannabis is going to do the trick, then that's, all the more power to it. It should be legal. It's decriminalized in Florida, thankfully, but we need to be able to have home grow. Hopefully that'll be a ballot initiative this year. We'll see what ends up happening. But in the meantime, best of luck on the ground tomorrow.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks for what you do. And I have
Thanks for filling in for our loser who canceled on us.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
No names be mentioned.
Yes, well,
No problem.
no big league in here, but we appreciate you, brother. Let's bring it home for Nina tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Bye, Jordan.
All right, bye-bye. Thanks.
So as you guys can imagine, we are very grateful for everything that Jordan does. Obviously, reporting on the ground is essential, especially for races like this, to really gauge exactly where people are. And because Jordan is doing all of that hard work on the ground, I think it is safe to say that when the numbers started coming out about the early voting, that really made a huge difference in terms of perhaps where AOC and maybe some others were thinking. Look, like I said, at this point, you take what you can get. We segue into what is more important, because all politics is local. And local politics is really what we like to focus on this show, especially here in Florida, where, as many of you know, South Florida politics in particular is not always good.
It's brutal, people.
But we do have a wonderful candidate, and I don't just say that because he's coming on the show, because we're special people here. But we are a huge fan of anybody who realizes that education and the environment can be blended together, because a lot of the things that need to happen in terms of the infrastructural changes that we need, especially in South Florida, which is ground zero for sea level rise and most of what happens in the climate crisis. I think it goes without saying that his ideas are great, and I think you're going to love them. John Moreno-Escobar, running for Broward County School Board, Seat 8. Welcome to Generational Change.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me well? Just wanted to make sure.
We can hear you. Yeah, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a while.
I had a story that I told Peter that I was honking at your car for like 20 minutes on the expressway, and I see your sign on the door, and I'm like, I have to text her now, and then I send you a message on Facebook. I'm like, it was me, the crazy person that you were looking to. It's a pleasure to see you, Jennifer. I commend all the work that you did on your campaign. I think it was tremendous. It was tremendous.
Thank you.
Well, we're also very grateful for what you do as well, John. It really means a lot.
How is your campaign? Remind me who is in seat 8? Is it open now? Like, what's going on? I forget that we have seats for school board. So
it's actually seat 6, District 6. Yeah, just to tell you a story and why people are getting confused. 2 years ago, I made the decision to run for office. And I was running for seat 8, which was the at-large seat. It was the Broward County, the entire seat. So you guys are not off. It's just telling the story here. A year ago, I suffered a major surgery. I had a brain surgery. I got an aneurysm. They found an aneurysm in my brain. And I'm literally a living miracle. That's what my doctor says, my neurosurgeon says. And that's why I closed my campaign. I actually sent a letter to the supervisor of elections. I put it out there in social media that I needed to take a time off. And through that year, I just decided not to get involved in politics, even though, if you're involved in politics, you're involved in politics. Everyone calls me, and you go and you meet things and you see things on YouTube, and why not? But then 2 months ago, I got a call from a couple of different community leaders in my district, and they were like, John, you are a great leader. We want you to run. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Until I received so many calls that I had to tell my wife, which is the boss of the house. And she was like, look, I don't like politics, but if you want to get again into this and you feel healthy, and why not, just go for it. And I went to my doctor and got a check, and he said, let's go. And now we are doing this, and it has been incredibly satisfying and super excited to be again talking to people, listening to the community. Our slogan is listening to you. So, here, making it happen.
I think it's very important that we start where a lot of your campaign emphasis has landed, especially, seeing you this past week regarding obviously the environment being a huge centerpiece of your campaign. So if you can share with the audience what that's going to look like if you are elected to the school board in November in the primary.
Why would a school board member care about our environment? Why would they do that?
Right? I think that, as coming from another country and being from a different generation, no disrespect to other generations, I have seen now with a 7-year-old the impact that we have as adults in them as little kids. And sometimes they see things, and not sometimes, all the time, they see things and they learn things by experiencing things, right? By experiencing what is going on. And during the speech that I did, what Peter was part of, I mentioned that we have to make this environmental causes normal for our kids. They have to see the solar panels. They have to see the electric vehicles. They have to see the recycling process. They have to see, that plastic bottles are bad for the environment. They have to see all these things there in the classroom, in the schools. Otherwise, it's not going to become something that is a centerpiece for their lives. So the first big thing I will make sure that it happens when I become a school board member, and I will, of course, need the help of my colleagues, it's to make sure that we beat Miami-Dade Public Schools, which actually committed to 100%, to become 100% sustainable by 2030. And it means everything. It means, digitalization of all the processes, making sure that, the buses are completely electric, that they are having solar panels in every single high school, in every single school, And I think we could do it by 2029. So my commitment to the environmentalists here in Broward County is that we will push an agenda that will support every single thing that is happening out there with the adults. We will bring it to the kids, and we will make sure that by 2029, with the help of my colleagues, and I'm pretty sure everyone will love this idea of becoming 100% sustainable by 2029. And we will beat Miami-Dade County. We love to talk and compete with them. So this is a great opportunity to compete with them in something that is really important for our kids. So looking forward to bring that first item in my first board meeting to make sure that we stamp on it and that we move forward with a green agenda in our school board.
I think it's really important. And I look at school buildings. These are our public school buildings. Why are they not all having solar panels on all their roofs? I think that should be the case for all of our government buildings, right? So not just schools, but there's no reason, other than anybody who's taking money from, let's say, NextEra Energy, who might not be hip to that idea for policy. But Florida consistently is one of the lowest states in education. We're somewhere around 48th. And something that I always find interesting is, but yet we're one of the wealthiest states in this country. So most of the states that are kind of on the low end as education, other than us, are the poorer states. And yet there we are, one of the wealthiest states in the country, and we're always hovering the bottom. And I think this is huge. I don't think it's a small thing. It's corruption. It's de facto corruption. If the money's going in, but yet it's not being utilized for what it's meant for, someone in the middle is getting something. So, I mean, I'm just curious, like, what your thoughts on how we're so rich and yet our education system here is so poor.
Right. Yeah. And Jan, you mentioned something about who's currently in the seat. And today we got the news that the current school board member, which is Lori Levinson, she's not running for re-election. So now we have an open seat, which is, I commend people for running for office and getting elected. So thanks for her service, but I think it was overdue to have a new leadership in that place. And just to answer that question, I know you said at the beginning. To the next question, I come from New York. I lived 14 years of my life in New York City. I came from Colombia when I was 18. And one thing that I learned from New York is that it's the most beautiful city because resources get to places. And sometimes it's not perfect, but resources get to places. And you see public schools struggling, but then you see that there's so many resources given to the poor and the kids of color and all the immigrant kids. It's just incredible. And they are the largest school district in the world. It's 1.1 million students that go through the system in New York City. And so with that experience that I had, I went to schools, I worked with teachers, I worked with parents. And to what you're asking me, it's just a shame that we are paying the peanuts that we pay in our teachers. Let's start with that. And so this week is Teachers Appreciation Week and All Staff Appreciation Week. And I don't think that giving them a Starbucks card or giving them a gift, it's enough. We really need to step up. And so we need to move into really doing a coalition to advocate as a school board members to go to Tallahassee, not to bring a group of legislators that are Democrats or Republicans, whatever, Democrats in our case, to go there and vouch for us. No, we have to go as a school board members. And hopefully when I become the school board member, I will go to Tallahassee because they have to hear from us. We have to go. We have to bring our kids. They have to testify. They have to show these people that they are not spending the money where it's supposed to be. And then the other part is, there is ramped corruption in our school district. You look at our bond, $800 million to reinvigorate the infrastructure of our schools. You know where that money went? To corruption for contracts, to briberies, to people getting in jail because they give contracts to people that they knew. And it's all over the news. I'm not telling this, things that John thinks. It's in the Sun Sentinel. You could look for, corruption in Broward County Public Schools. You will find at least 20 different stories. And the last thing is that now we're going into $1.4 billion that we have been spending on this, infrastructure that we wanted to revamp. And now we're asking for more money, right? Now we have a referendum that is going to raise the property taxes. The mileage. And people are going to get hurt through that. We're going to raise almost $200 million, but who is going to guarantee the community, us, that money is going to go into the right places? And so we need really a strong school board members that are looking, como decimos en español, con una lupa, right? With that magnified glass. We have to look into those numbers. Where is this money going? How many instruments that we bought? Why we buying it from one specific vendor? We just spent almost $17 million in one vendor for musical instruments. Can somebody explain that to me? So I think that there is time right now for a revisiting of how we are spending our money. And I think that the school board member, with the new members, has been doing a great job. We have now Sarah Leonardi and other, Debbie Hickson, which are more open-minded and looking into different things. They are teachers, so they see other perspectives as well. But we need to get to really look and ask big questions to our superintendent. Where is this money going? We need a report. And it's like, oh, we will report back. No, we need a report now. And we're staying here in this seat until you get us a report. Because that is our job. We have to make sure that this money is not being spent wrongly and that we definitely change our procurement process. I want to finish with that. It's you go buy a door for a school. These vendors are charging us 5-6 times what it's supposed to be. If it's $20, they're charging us $100, $200 for a door. So we have to change that as well. And we have to make sure that whatever organization or corporation that steals money or didn't finish contracts or is asking for more money because they didn't have the labor or they didn't have the technology to deliver on the contracts, that they get completely banned from doing businesses with the Broward County Public School System. That's it. If you didn't deliver and we give you $3 million and now you want another $1 million, explain why, and you get to never contract with us again.
Yeah. Well, often it's because they're friends with the people on the school board, which is why, as we say with every seat, the people that are not bought and paid for are the only people that are going to fight for regular people. So it really matters what people's financial connections are. And I appreciate that about you because you are definitely transparent.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge part of this process. And John, one of the final thoughts we'd like to hear from you. One of the things that we really emphasize, I mean, again, we're Democrats, but I think that the importance of focusing on nonpartisan races, especially nowadays when there is so much political turmoil, there is so much division. I think it is so much easier to unite people when you have the opportunity to basically canvass every voter. This isn't a case of, well, I'm a Democrat, so if you're an independent or a Republican, I can't talk to you. It's, no, we all should have these nonpartisan races, the importance of city council, the importance of the county commission, and obviously the importance of the school board, especially nowadays. I think having these nonpartisan races become much more of the focus on this populist progressive movement, I think is immensely important. What are your thoughts on that?
I completely 100% agree. And part of, of why people don't understand the importance of these races is because we don't do enough work as advocates, and I've been an advocate for a long time, educating our communities about what a commissioner does, what a school board member does. We need to really educate our community to really make sure that they make these decisions of getting involved. And, we have to identify diverse, individuals to run for these seats, because if you look into my case as a Latino, as a Hispanic American, a Colombian American, we have only 2 handfuls of elected officials in Broward County in commissions that are Latino, and the largest population of minority groups, it's Latino. So I think there is an issue there. There's a disconnect. But I feel that when people start seeing people working and really listening to them and approaching them and going and asking them questions and getting them engaged, and that is one of the things that I mentioned to my campaign people, is like the volunteers and the people who are in the campaign, is like, we have to go and talk to people. We could just come up with all these ideas about the green initiatives that we have in our campaign are not just because I thought it will be great. It's because we asked people. We asked people who were involved in the environment. We asked in the environmentalist groups. We asked parents. We asked students, and we told them. One of the biggest things that now we're gonna start putting something around, it's how we could get our students to have more time to have lunch, because they don't have time. We've been asking kids from high school to elementary school, how much time do you have when you're eating? And it's like 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes max. And I think that we need to get to talk to people about the importance of these races, but also we have to show them that we care. The majority of people show up for the election time. The majority of people show up when they need the votes. But during the entire 3 years that we're in office, and I'm not saying the majority, but a good number of them, they never show up. They never go anywhere. They never go to these events. They never talk to people. They're just in the seat, and then they go and do their job for their commission meeting, and then they go back home. And that is what we need to change. When they see elected officials that are engaged and they're listening, then they're going to participate. And of course, the other part is the educational part.
Yeah.
JME for schoolboard.com. John, how can people help your campaign, and what do you need the most help with right now as we enter the warm season and in Florida, which is considered the hot season?
Well, no, and now that that's an open seat, all the vultures are going to come out now and jump in that race, because that's how it works. We have a lot of people in Broward that won't run against an incumbent, but as soon as there's an open seat, they're on it like white on rice, people. So that's just how it works.
So how could we help you?
Yeah.
Well, one, we have an opponent that is a radical Republican. She is, I don't want to talk bad about my opponent, but you know, it's just not the right person for the seat. And so that is one thing that everyone should know. We are running against a person who believes that Trump and DeSantis are doing the best job and all these things. And, you know, that is important for people to know. And the second thing is, you know, we need donations, but most importantly, we need you to come and become part of this family, to join our campaign. We want to listen to you. We want to know how you could help. You want to knock on doors. You want to make phone calls. You want to text people. Whatever that you feel will be the best use of your time, this campaign is going to bring you. We're going to put you under our wing, and we're going to help you if you have never volunteered in the past. Of course, we're going to need to walk and knock to as many doors as possible, because that's a game changer when you're doing this from the grassroots, you know, part. And we're going to need people to go and help us with the knocking on doors. But right now, we need donations, and we need you to reach out to our website that Peter just put on the screen. Go there. There is all the different ways you could volunteer. We have, you know, a policy team. We have a canvassing team. We have a phone banking and texting team. And, you know, some people want to just like, I want to help by giving you some ideas of my city. If you live in Davie, Weston, Plantation, Sunrise, or Cooper City, which are the 5 cities that are part of my district. Here you go, 2 votes. You know, let us know when you fill the form, or if you send us an email, because you go to our website, you will be able to send us an email. Let us know that you live in those cities, because one of the things that I'm going to start doing starting June is we're going into a city tour. We're going to go into those cities, and we're going to go listening to the small businesses, the community members, the teachers, the moms, the dads, the students. We're going to go through a variety of tours in the 5 cities, because again, our slogan is listening to you. So we want to really make it part of our campaign for sure, listening to all of you.
That's really great. I appreciate it. You know what? Check out what we did a lot of neighborhood associations.
Yeah.
Go to neighborhood association meetings, man. I am telling you, the people that show up at those things, they've got grievances, valid grievances, but those are also your active people generally. All of those neighborhoods, like I can tell, they all have associations. 2
things that I definitely want to recommend. A good friend of ours, Zena Walland, runs an organization called Mobile School Pantry. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. They
Get
are
familiar with Mobile School Pantry.
Fantastic group. This is an organization that is their sole purpose is to allow kids in school to eat healthy food. It is absolutely good.
She works through the schools
and knows she's connected all over Broward.
Yeah.
And then another organization which we're a big fan of is called I think it's Renewable, Renubble. They are based in Hollywood, even though that's not part of the district, but they go all over Broward County, and they are involved in composting. That is a huge thing. And I would definitely say for any of the schools, even a school like, Cypress, building community gardens is a huge, huge thing.
And seriously, John Moreno, Mobile School Pantry, like they go to all the schools that have the highest free and reduced lunch, and any family can sign up, and they do distributions there. This was long before COVID.
We volunteer with them.
Like this was long before COVID. And so they're very ingrained in the actual schools with the teachers, with the administrators, and it's an amazing organization. So just something to be familiar with.
Yeah, another thing, and I don't know if you're running out of time, I do apologize, but wanted to share with everyone that when I started running, somebody invited me to a gardening project, a beautification project in Davie. And I met this incredible group of college students from NSU that volunteered their time to help schools all over Broward to get better areas, better green areas in gardening. And what I learned is that there is not even a budget to buy some of the materials, so they get everything donated. And I'm committed. I already talked to the director of the program at NSU, and I will be visiting at the beginning of June to go and talk to the college students and see what are the projects that they're doing. And also, again, putting this into another bracket of our environmental initiatives, because we need to make sure that these organizations get the support. I mean, if we giving them $1,000 to do this will change the game for them. You know, that's it.
It's us.
It's
We're
you
coming back.
guys? Oh,
There we go.
Yeah, we're here. Sorry, no, it's our end. Go
We've
ahead.
had
Say
a
it
couple of
again.
glitches tonight.
We've had some glitches. Go ahead. Say it again.
No, I was just saying that I think that, you know, we have to support these initiatives. The gardening initiative, I volunteered that day, and, you know, even if we could give them $500 to $1,000 to buy some of the materials, it just makes a huge difference. This lady was like, "Oh, can we receive money from the school board?" I was like, "Yes, we should be able to allocate money for these initiatives." Why we are not doing it? Well, because there has never, at least in the time that I've been here, a person who has really, you know, take the flag of the green initiatives in our district. So I want to be that person. I want to bring these initiatives and many others. Our political structure plan is coming out March 12th, which is the kickoff of our campaign as well. Everything is on the website. If you want to join us, it's going to be in Weston. Come and get some food, and then we're going to have a couple of speakers, and then we're just going to.
Don't go in with food. But
And then
anyway.
you could have a drink, and then, you know, we could talk more. But, you know, I think that we need to really change what's going on.
Okay.
Definitely.
So May 12th.
May 12th, not March 12th.
That's
May
a
12th.
May 12th, sorry, May 12th.
Yeah.
So that's next Thursday. We
Yes.
should be able to attend, and obviously we think you're a fantastic candidate, John.
Yeah.
Obviously, we need a lot more of that at the local level, and we will definitely be assisting your campaign.
Yes.
We're pretty good canvassers.
We're good canvassers.
We have experience with that.
We've had some experience. Also, check out Howendale High. The new community garden that they have there is amazing. I believe her name is it's Lucy Spence is the woman over at Howendale High who's in charge of this. It is like the best prototype I can imagine for a really good high school garden. And I'm glad to say we donated. Like we donated to that effort, but it's really what they're doing is phenomenal over there. I just like to look at like sort of templates, like what's working places. And so what can we share?
Well, we're immensely appreciative that you're doing what you're doing. It is not easy to run for office.
No.
It is not easy to run for a competitive office, and it is really not easy to run for competitive office in Broward County, South Florida. So with that said, guys, get to JME for schoolboard.com. Remember, any donation helps. Phone banking, text
and
banking.
honestly, sharing. Be on social media, follow them on social media and share it, because you might not have money to donate, but you might have a friend that does.
Yeah, and the ideas are great, and that's really what we need.
I'm making really cool videos nowadays that I'm getting better at Instagram. So follow us on Instagram. Is that we're trying to get to 1,000 followers by next week. We are 950 or some. Follow us. And again, I want to thank you guys before we go. I want to thank you for what you guys doing. I mean, I have followed since Jennifer run for office, but after you guys created the podcast, I have seen other friends. Raymond Arley is a friend of mine too, and I was at his one of his events this weekend. But tremendous, incredible leader, incredible young man that has put himself to serve our community. What an incredible example for many adults. So thank you for what you guys do. It's just really important to have a voice like this in our community.
Well, hopefully, if everything goes well, we'll be seeing you next Thursday at your event. Obviously, best of luck, and I'm sure we will be speaking with you again soon.
Thanks, John.
Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity. Ciao.
Pleasure, my friend. Have a great night. Well, I think it's safe to say that we have had a great show today.
We did have a good show, and the best part is I monetized ahead of time.
Yes. And I changed the header. Yeah, I guess the header. I guess that's what you would call it. So I changed the header to say AOC endorses Nina with Jordan Chariton. So we had the whole. We had a triumvirate right there. So I guess people just had to get to our show tonight.
Can I make a comment on our chat just in general?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, we're trying to have a civilization here. Okay. Now listen to me. I don't ask about the COVID stuff because I really don't care that much about it right now. That's not my priority. It's just not. I'm not a journalist. I don't have to present everything. But aside from that, we get good guests on this show. We do. We get really good guests. And I got to tell you, our chat is embarrassing to me. You guys, like, first
We
of
need a
all,
moderator.
we need a moderator.
We need
But
a moderator.
first of all,
Who's volunteering to moderate? And no, it ain't you, Keith, and it ain't you, Scat. So
or whoever is the doorknob, like, I feel like we get good guests and we get ridiculous trolls. And then we've got people that are legitimate supporters that we love you guys that don't necessarily realize that they're sitting there arguing with trolls. And it's not all of you. I know Keith is not a troll. I know that. But you guys, we're trying to have a decent program here. And you guys, I feel like I'm looking at like a junior high school, like, you know, chat room. And it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's a little sad.
But with that said, if you guys do enjoy our content and appreciate what we are putting out, patreon.com/generational change. A lot of the things that we just spoke about with John Moreno-Escobar is what we do locally: community gardens, composting, serving the community. That is where our money goes. Our money also went, your support also went to helping us get to Cleveland this weekend so we can canvass for Nina. We were out there for at least 15 hours between 2 of the days that we were there. There was also another 3-4 hours we put in the office helping with filing and stuff on Friday. We probably got to, between the 2 days, we probably got close to about 200 doors. So to say that we've had an impact, I am hopeful that something positive will come of it, and you guys out there have had a lot to do with it.
And I am open to the going to help Jessica Cisneros.
Yes. So
I have a personal stake in that race because I lived in that district.
I think it's Alberto. Is that who put it out there?
I don't know. When is that runoff? When's her runoff?
Alberto, if you're still here, or if anybody knows.
And whoever was shouting out Kashama Sawant, big fan here. Gotta tell you.
Huge fan.
We're huge fans.
Tremendous fan of Kashama Sawant.
So I'd love to get her on.
Yeah, well, that would, I mean, I could.
Well, Jordan's connected to her, so we could probably ask.
That. Yeah, just be able to figure out exactly how we could get her on the show. Anyway.
So, I am not averse to going to do that. Even though we couldn't get Jessica on our show, I'm not going to hold that against her.
When is
Henry Cuellar's pretty horrible.
When is Cisneros Cuellar runoff?
And then I got the people telling me I'm making fun of disabled veterans because I called the guy a pirate. Look, that's not making fun of a disability. For the love of all that is holy, if you have an eye thing and you're wearing that particular style, sorry, it's a pirate patch. I'm sorry, it is. That's not mocking a disability. And by the way, my mocking of that guy, and I totally got his name confused, is because I've seen him be a complete douchebag.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with the fact that he has an eye problem.
Crenshaw's a jerk. So let's.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's
straight.
Right. I mean, I'm mocking disabled veterans now.
Yeah, really. But if you guys do like what we're offering, as little as $5 a month, you can become a patron on Patreon. So we certainly appreciate your support.
We actually have a bunch of jerseys we need to unload, and I have to send them out, guys. So join.
We're going to scroll the last few names. We have another agnostic. Where have you been, my friend?
Steve's friend of the show.
Steve is a friend.
Go back and look. We just had him last week.
If you're new to the show, agnostic, I'm an agnostic. I think you're an agnostic as well.
I'm an atheist.
So I definitely would recommend checking out our archive. Make sure you're subscribed. If you would like to become a patron, we certainly would appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we've had Steve on several times, actually fairly recently. So we should have some clips that have come out like within the past week that are Steve clips.
You'll even like one of the shows we did with Steve and Jordan.
Yeah,
both of them.
We had both of them on
really
at the same
conversation.
time.
So
agnostics are usually pretty good about atheists. It's sort of like vegetarians and vegans. There's a crossover.
Good to see you, Alicia. Thank you, Robin. Okay, there you go.
Thank you. We have very good.
May 24th.
It's not Alicia. It's all ICIA.
All ICIA.
It's CIA. It's Ali CIA. We've had this discussion before. MMT is so important, which is why we've covered it a lot. We have a really good. Thank you, Arlene. We have a really good variety of guests.
Thank you, Arlene. You're fantastic.
What do we have coming up on Wednesday?
What do we have coming up on Wednesday? Well, right now, Jen has one of her favorite candidates returning to the show.
Oh, he's adorable.
Neil Walia, who is running in Colorado's 1st district, which is an area I believe that Jen.
I've not lived in Denver, but I lived in Boulder. It's funny, like all these places I feel connected to. I am connected to San Antonio as well. I lived there for 6 years. But Neil Walia is coming back. Yeah, he was adorable.
Guys, if you think that
he is adorable. Just saying.
If you think AOC's endorsement was big, we've got one more special message before you all.
Okay, but what else do we have on Wednesday?
That's it for now. We don't have.
Okay, well, we will come up with something great because we always do. Meanwhile,
somebody to bring on that might be celebrating.
We could be celebrating with the Royal Highness.
Well, look,
I have to say, we are very appreciative of all of you who have come on the show tonight. But remember, tomorrow, Nina's election day.
Election day tomorrow.
So want to get all of you to remember, just careful. I'm sorry.
You always poke at me.
But remember, it's very important that you get on the phone, so that you text back, phone back for Nina. She really needs your help. And if you happen to be close to Cleveland, we recommend that you get out there, get to the polls, get as many people there as you can. This is a very close race, but I think Nina can win.
I do too. Look, there's so many variables you never know. Even weather does play a part in election day. So like there's so many variables you can't count any one thing. Like, so you really got to just put it all out there.
Well, look, I think we've done a really good job. I'm very appreciative that AOC came out and endorsed today. I endorsed a lot earlier, and unfortunately I wasn't there. But, you know, I sent my good friend Jeff. You know, I hope he made a difference.
We saw a lot of Jeff.
So we did. You did?
Oh, yeah.
You did? Oh,
we saw a lot of Jeff.
Oh, that could be a good thing.
Yeah, no.
Like I said, guys, we really appreciate all your support. Make sure that you become a Patreon patron, whatever they call those things. I don't know. I don't know much about that. But anyway, if you want to support this show, it's a really great show. So go to patreon.com/generational change. And for as little as $5, you know, the cost of a coffee at Starbucks, although now with the unions, maybe it'll be less. Make sure you subscribe.
No, the workers get more.
Well, workers should get more.
Yeah.
That's the labor revolution is here, and it's here to stay. So even though they didn't win today, at the Amazon warehouse in New York, that's just a momentary setback. There are going to be many more victories ahead.
Another agnostic, you could be a mod, but he'll come back under another name. There's certain people that you just recognize them based on their vocabulary, but we'd love to have you as a mod, however that works. I don't even know how that works. I'm a techno dino.
If somebody's offering to help the show, I think that's a good thing.
No, we need a moderator. It's ridiculous.
That would be really great. So guys, remember, go to ninaturner.com, sign up for phone and text banking over the next some odd hours, whatever it's going to take.
We got to GOTV tomorrow, people.
Got to get the vote out. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
We need to get Nina into Congress because I'm tired of doing this all by myself. Good to see you.
Doesn't Jason Call also have a mad wrench? I don't know what that means.
A mod wrench?
Mod wrench.
Yeah, I guess like when
like
you're moderating, you get like a wrench or something. It's interesting.
Oh, okay. I just, you know what it is?
So yeah, you know what? We're going to have to look into potentially making a trip to San Antonio, which is
May
Jen's.
24th.
Yeah, you know.
I'm gonna, okay. That's a lot of traveling this month.
You know who's following you on social media now?
Who is following you?
Joaquin Castro. So,
well, but I know him.
Well, I know you know him, but
I actually law clerked with the Castro brothers. It was, I want to say it was 98. It was, or 99, summer of 98 or 99. They are from San Antonio. They both went to, I believe, Harvard Law, Stanford undergrad. They all went.
Volunteer.
Yeah, that's,
So,
that's all I know. I don't know.
Whoever wants to be, all right. So whoever wants to be a mod.
Seriously, we can definitely use the help. But yeah, so that's cool. So Joaquin's following me.
Yeah. That's not a mistake. That's
no.
That's like
well,
guys,
he's a representative. That's
whoever
cool.
wants to be a mod, please go to please email generationalchange@gmail.com to let us know that you're interested. And if you have any experience or anything like that, that'll obviously be huge for us.
Yeah, but I don't mind certain trolls. You guys have to understand, like Scat, he's harmless. When people start making fun of my jowls, that's mean. Why are we doing that? It's not important and it's not nice to me.
Jealousy.
And look, here's the thing. I honestly do not care what people think of me. Like, I really don't. But we're really trying to have a quality show and we get good guests. And it's just embarrassing that our chat is ridiculous. So it isn't that it offends me.
Lauren,
it's just stupid discourse.
Lauren, just help remove the trolls. That'll be more important. That'll be much more beneficial.
I mean, yeah, Scat's really my only acceptable troll.
So with that said, we really appreciate all of you. If you can, for us. And yeah, we are going to look into potentially going to San Antonio in a couple of weeks. So
I could go
see
there.
if we could do that. Nina needs us.
Seriously, people.
Even if things look like they're trending in her direction.
We might have to come on tomorrow night.
Yeah. Do not take anything for granted.
No.
Please do not. If you can phone bank, text bank, if you're in Pittsburgh, if you're in Detroit, hell, even if you're in Columbus, if you can get to Cleveland and help out at the polls tomorrow, that would be wonderful. It can really make the difference. So let's not take anything for granted. Yes, remember the Alamo, Lauren. Mm-hmm. And no, we are not going to bend the knee.
Here's the thing. I've been to the Alamo a lot of times. I liked it, maybe the first and second time. But when you live in San Antonio, every time family comes to visit, or anytime someone comes to visit, we go to the Alamo. Right. So I am going to say that I appreciate the Alamo. I could probably do the tour of the Alamo. And it is worth seeing. Absolutely, it is worth seeing. But I'm good. That's what I'm going to say. I do not need to go to the Alamo.
What we will remember are those who came out for Nina and those who
Oh,
didn't.
yeah.
So that's a huge part of this. You know, the one thing we've learned in politics.
Oh, another agnostic. You're in Nina's district?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I hope we certainly hope you'll be there tomorrow, Mr.
Awesome.
Agnostic.
Please. They're going to need help, especially if the weather's crappy. Loyalty is being out there in a poncho.
Yeah. And I can't wear a poncho to save my life.
Okay,
I
it
did
was
the best
funny.
I
It was
could.
like watching somebody wrestle with a garbage bag.
Yeah. Yeah. That one of the few bits that
It was so funny.
Tom Hanks did a bit on
He was
Saturday
like-
SNL once like that. That was
He was like, I can't find that. Well, the head, like,
I
it was,
can't get my head
I can't my
through
head.
it was stiff to protect me, so I couldn't find it. But it was a great experience. Look, you know what? We didn't even take time away to even go and, you know, one of the events with Nina. Like,
No.
we literally didn't stop
Canvassing. The only thing we did was canvass, and we did eat.
Yeah.
But that was it. Like, we didn't do. There was no
We couldn't see.
fun
Yeah,
activities.
we couldn't see Nina at night because she was doing call time. And then last night she did a live stream with our other favorite leader in the Black community, Dr. Cornel West.
I need to sort of like
You'll see him again.
no, what am I going to say? I need to redeem myself with Dr. Cornel West.
Big
Not that he
fan.
would remember. Oh, it was ridiculous. I was like a moron.
But yeah, so we'll look into San Antonio, but
We didn't get to go to the Christmas Story House again.
Yeah,
Which, by the way, guys, if you're ever in Cleveland,
great.
the Christmas Story House
That
was
is a
really
great-
cool.
That's a great tourist trap.
It was great.
Really, really great.
There is a giant inflatable pink bunny,
Huh.
Ralphie, that's bigger than the house itself. That's just there as a decoration. And there's a separate gift shop. There's a separate garage that has the car in it. Like, I got to tell you, if you like Christmas Story and you're ever in Cleveland, it was definitely worth it.
Agnostic, I would definitely say, and again, I can't really say specifically where they're going to need to get the most vote out, but it looks like Lakewood is definitely the community where getting the most amount of people out to vote is going to make a difference. We really believe that Beechwood is not going to have as great of an impact this time. Numbers are bearing that out for Chantel because Josh Mandel is running for the U.S. Senate in
Declan
the
is
GOP
scat.
primary.
Declan is
So-
Scat Muncher, Blue Bandit.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a
so
big deal.
the other
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
Wes seems so intense. He isn't, but there's this air about him.
Yeah.
Like, there's air of greatness. Like, there's certain people that you meet them and there's just this, it's not a pretension. It's not him. He doesn't think that. He's just, I just have mad respect. And so I met him and I
So
couldn't
do I.
even talk like a normal person. So I was like a moron. It was embarrassing.
You were fine. You guys.
You weren't there.
No, I was close by, but I didn't see it. But
It was not
anyway,
pretty.
I got the picture with Nina.
You got a picture with
Got
Nina.
many better ones.
I'm just saying.
It's been quite an odyssey, but we're grateful that you guys are here. We keep growing. This is probably going to be one of the best, you know. Yeah, we definitely get some interesting characters. We're definitely going to have one of our best views tonight. So again, like you said, guys, please share it, like it, subscribe, comment, do whatever you can to get this out. And hopefully we'll be celebrating tomorrow night. Maybe we'll have to come on. And if not, then we will definitely be talking about it on Wednesday. So with that said, let's
Oh,
bring it.
guys, Jimmy Dore's garage is
Yeah.
troll. Don't engage.
Yeah, everybody's having a good laugh tonight. So with
That's
that said,
so funny.
from
I
from
know, but
from
I
your
feel like
lips to
don't
from
say it.
from your lips to the universe's ears, that's all we can say.
Shh, don't say it. Like I feel like every Super Set must feel like I should like cross fingers and spit and like all the things like just knocking on wood, like all of it.
We did our part. Hopefully you guys will do yours. Let's bring it home for Nina. We love you all. We appreciate you all. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Of course.